Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tarare Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tar Bhaktaya Namo Namaha। क्या शुरू हो गया और क्या? वंदे हम श्री गुरु श्री युतपद कमलं श्री गुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथन्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादं सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्ता नमस्तुते। तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जयति जयति नामानंद रूपम मुरारे विरमित निज धर्म ध्यान पुजार्यतम कथमपि सकृदत्तम मुक्तिनं प्रणम्य परममृतमेकं जीवनं भूषणं मे। माधुरं मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलं पावनं पावनेभ्योऽपि हरेर्नाम एव केवलम्। हरेर्नाम एव केवलं कौलौ नस्त्येव गतिरन्यथा। Reading from Jaiva Dharma, 3rd chapter. Namittiga Dharma is to be relinquished. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has very nicely explained about through Premdas Babaji Maharaj and Sannyasi Thakur about Nitya Dharma, the constitutional position of the living entity, serving Krishna, and Namittiga Dharma, referring to religious principles in this material world, which are occasional. So in the first chapter outline was there. Second, so it was clearly established that so Nitya Dharma, so that is permanent, that is ever existing, refers to the soul's constitutional position as eternal servant to Krishna. And loving exchanges there with Krishna. So in this chapter here, Namittiga Dharma is discussed, and here it is mentioned, is to be relinquished. It pertains to the body. So the first thing we understand in spiritual life is that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. So as much as possible we have to reduce the activities of the existence in this world in regards to the absolute nature, our relationship with Krishna, of of course, so service to Krishna has to be performed as much as possible. At the same time, so occupational duties are there in this material world. And we have to act according to one ashram. So, but we should always remember our constitutional position. Sambandha Gyan should be there, our relationship with Krishna, eternal relationship. And so as a matter of duty, we perform the external activities. So one night just after 10 o'clock, Sannyasi Maharaj sat chanting Harinam on a raised mound in a secluded part of his grove within Sri Godrum. Gazing northward, he saw the full moon had already risen, diffusing an uncommon luster throughout Sri Navadvip Mandal. Suddenly a divine manifestation of nearby Sri Mayapur became visible before his eyes. Sannyasi Maharaj exclaimed, "Oh, what an extraordinary vision! I am seeing a most astonishing and blissful holy place. Towering jeweled palaces, temples and ornamented archways are illuminating the bank of the January river by their glittering splendor. The tumultuous sound of Harinam Sankirtan is rising from many places. As if to pierce the sky, hundreds of Vaishnavas like Narada, playing upon his veena, are chanting Sri Nam and dancing." On one side is fair-complexioned Mahadev with his Damaru drum in his hand. He cries out, "Oh Vishwambar, please bestow your mercy upon me." Saying this, he dances Tandam Nritya widely, then falls to the ground unconscious. On another side, a four-handed Brahma sits in an assembly of rishis who are well versed in Vedic lore. He recites the following Vedic mantra and lucidly explains its meaning. Mahan Prapurvai Purushaha Sattvasyasha Pravartakaha Sunirmalam Imam Praptam Vishano Jyotir Abhyayaha. That personality is undoubtedly Mahan Supreme and is Prabhu Master. He bestows the tendency for intelligence, and by his mercy, a person can attain supremely pure and transcendental peace. That person known as Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya is Purush, the Supreme Person, is Ishvara, the Supreme Ruler, is Jyoti Sarup, self-manifest and possessing a lustrous effulgence due to the golden splendor of his limbs, is Avyaya, the impartial Lord. Elsewhere, Indra and other devas are leaping in ecstasy, crying, "Jai Prabhu Gaura Chandra, Jai Nityananda." The birds sitting on the branches of the trees are calling out, "Gaura Nitai." Large black bees are humming everywhere in the flower gardens, intoxicated by drinking Gaura Namras, the liquid essence of the holy name of Gaura. Prakriti Devi, the goddess of fortune, is maddened with Gaura Ras and diffusing her magnificent radiance everywhere. This is wonderful. I have seen Sri Mayapur in broad daylight many times, but I have never beheld anything like this before. What am I seeing? So, so by chanting the holy names of the Lord purely, then the holy names will reveal themselves. So, of course, that is only possible for those who are purified in consciousness, those who are advanced. But by chanting the holy name sincerely, so slowly but surely we can be blessed, and we can have some transcendental experiences while chanting. We can feel transcendental pleasure. And as shown here, then the Dharma may reveal himself, and then the Supreme Lord will reveal himself. So here, so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is no different from Radha and Krishna. And so the holy names, the Mahamantra, so it's no different from Radha Krishna, no different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so the pure devotees, sometimes they are seeing Radha Krishna, their pastimes, sometimes they are seeing Mahaprabhu and his pastimes. And two kinds of pastimes are there. So what kind of pastimes?
Dwarka pastime?
No.
Two kinds of pastime? Like
yes. No. Nitya Lila, Ashtakaliya Lila, and Naimittika Lila. So here we have Nitya and Naimittika also. Nitya Dharma, Nanikita Dharma. Even in the service of the Lord, Nitya Seva and Naimittika Seva. So Nitya refers to the eternal pastimes of the Lord. Nitya Dharma, so the eternal constitutional position, divine service to the divine couple in the spiritual realm. And Diti Seva in the temple, that refers to the eternal pastimes of the Lord. So we have, by the mercy of the spiritual master, we get an opportunity. A kind of apprenticeship is there. We can learn to serve the divine couple or Mahaprabhu, Gaunitai, Panchatattva. And Naimittika, that refers to this world. Naimittika Lila, the pastimes in this world, of Mahaprabhu or Radha and Krishna. And Naimittika Seva, so the service of the deities which are occasional, like Janmashtami, observing the appearance of Krishna or Mahaprabhu in this world. That is happening once a year in the temple. So that refers to Naimittika Lila. And Naimittika Dharma means occupational activities of this world. So, and of course there are varieties are there. If Krishna is the center, then it becomes conducive for one's spiritual advancement. If Krishna is not in the center, then it is practically useless, almost useless. So here, Sannyasi Thakur, so was definitely exalted personality. But first he was in this world performing his spiritual activities with the Mayavad understanding, impersonal conception of the absolute truth, but by good fortune he met the devotees. And he came to Braj and then came to Navadvip, to Mayapur, and he surrendered to the Vaishnavas. So here chanting the holy name, so he gets a transcendental vision. So, and here, so the pure devotees, when they perform, or those who are almost pure, so being in a holy place like Braj or Navadvip, then they can see the Supreme Lord, and they can see the pastimes sometimes of the Lord. So because the Lord is present in the holy place always, like Vrajadam, Krishna is present, but he's not seen, he's aprakat. But then the pure devotees, they can see. Of course, the pure devotees, they can see the aprakat, the eternal pastimes in the spiritual world, and they can see the pastimes in this world also. As Krishna is revealing, or Mahaprabhu is revealing, as the holy names are revealing. So Hare Krishna, that refers to Radha Krishna. Or Mahaprabhu is no different from Radha and Krishna. So here he's saying Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu and Narada Muni, Mahadev, and Lord Brahma Indra. So that refers to Prakat Lila here, and who the demigods, many times they come. When Mahaprabhu was present, they used to come. Also to take darshan. Sometimes it is in their self-same form, and sometimes disguised as human beings. Just as is explained when Mahaprabhu appeared. Demigods, they came, many of the demigods, disguised as human beings. So, but here in their self-same forms, so these great personalities were there, he could see them. So he never saw something like this. Also even Prabhupada, in some places, one time in England, in London, Prabhupada was sitting on the Vyasasana and was chanting Radha Madhava. And after chanting Radha Madhava, he told the devotees to bring one Vyasasana, another Vyasasana, and put to the side. And they did that, and then he gave the class, and after the class, they asked Prabhupada why they had to bring a Vyasasana, and then they were saying, because Narada Muni came. So, but only the pure devotees, they can see great personalities. Sometimes they may manifest also, even previously it is known. When the Brahmanas were performing yagyas, sacrifices, then they were calling the demigods, and the demigods used to come also. But it is only in previous yugas they were actually coming. And in Treta Yuga, when they were performing opulent sacrifices. Of course, even nowadays, when the priests are performing sacrifice, so they call different personalities. Of course, we invite Mahaprabhu or Radha Krishna when we do sacrifice. But then if more elaborate sacrifices are there, then we call the Chaturvyu, Vasudev, Shankar, Pradyumna, Niruddha. Even when the deities are installed, the new temple is established, then even Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, they are called. But we have not seen that they came, that they manifested their form. But and still, sometimes if devotees are pure, then they will come, but only seen to the pure devotees. Or in Keturidam, when Narottam Das Thakur and the devotees were chanting the holy names, then suddenly Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Gadadhar Pandit, Advaita Acharya, Shiva's Pandit appeared. And the pure devotees they could see. But not everyone could see, only the pure devotees. So when the devotee becomes pure, then these wonderful experiences may be there. So when he's chanting Shuddhanam, then this will happen. Or when he's chanting Abhasnam, then something little sometimes may come. When he's chanting Aparadhanam, nothing will be there. Darkness. So, but then we have to try to pray to Guru Garanya Krishna and to become purified, to chant without offenses, so that we may have some revelation, that we may get some taste for chanting. So then we may, of course, we should not think and chant that, let me get some taste, or I'm not getting taste, or I'm not feeling transcendental bliss. In happiness or distress, we chant for the pleasure of the Lord. When we be happy or not so happy, but we chant for the pleasure of the Lord always. So, but then when we become purified in consciousness, then naturally a taste for chanting the holy names will be there. And then we may be able to have some wonderful experience. Little by little. And the more one becomes pure, the more one can have some transcendental experiences by chanting the holy names. And so that is desire that ultimately is required. So, but it takes some time. We should remain enthusiastic and fixed and patient. And then it will come. Remembering his Gurudev, Sannyasi Maharaj said, "O Prabhu, now I can understand that you have bestowed your mercy upon me today by granting me a vision of the transcendental, aprakrita aspect of Mayapur. From today onwards, I shall call myself a follower of Sri Chaitanya, of Sri Gaurachandra. I see that everyone in this divine land of Navadvip wears a necklace of tulsi beads, tilak, on his forehead and the letters of Sri Nam stamped on his body. I should also do the same." So here in transcendental Mayapur, so everyone is a devotee and is wearing neck beads and is chanting the holy names. Tilak is there on the forehead. And so here it is mentioned, Sri Nam is stamped on his body. You can see amongst the Bengali devotees sometimes, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. I mean, in our society usually we don't see that so much. That have a stamp of tattoo is not there, no. And this is not mentioned here, tattoo. Sri Nam stamped on his body. Sometimes you can see, but that is with chandan, and that is not permanent. Even you go to Radhakund, many Babajis are there, or Bengali devotees are there, and they have these stamps with Hare Krishna or Radha Krishna or Sri Radha and so on. Sometimes they stamp in different places, here or here on the chest. But that is with Gopi Chandan. That may be done. Whereas in the Sri Sampradaya, Ramanuja Sampradaya, they also have the stamp of the symbols of the Lord, specifically the Shankha and the Chakra, and they stamp it here and here. And that is permanent with the iron, hot iron, and they stamp here. So, but that, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we don't do. But in Gopi Chandan we may have the letters of the Mahamantra there, or just Hare Krishna or Hare Krishna. That is also authorized. But Prabhupada, he never introduced, and so usually we don't see in our society. And it's not that we have to do. But having the tilak, and on 12 parts, then we have the tilak. So that is usually done. Some devotees, they also do permanent tilak, they have here. And then the names also of the Lord. Narayan, Madhava, Govinda. But that we don't have to do. Saying this, Sannyasi Maharaj fell into a state of unconsciousness. He regained external consciousness after a short while and began to cry. Indeed, I am extremely fortunate, for by the mercy of my Guru I have obtained a momentary vision of the sacred land of Sri Navadvip. The next morning he threw his Ekadanda staff into the river. So Ekadanda, that is the sannyasis. So they have this one stick. When they take sannyas, they have one danda, one stick. Whereas the sannyasis, they have 3 danda. Therefore, they are known as 3 dandi sannyasi. Indicating that they have dedicated the body, mind and words in the service of the Lord. And there is a small one also, Jiva Danda, indicating that they are trying to surrender to the Lord. Then decorating his neck with this 3-stranded necklace of tulsi beads and his forehead with the Urdhva Pundra Tilak mark, he chanted Hari Hari and began to dance. When the Vaishnavas of Godrum saw Sannyasi Maharaj's extraordinary mood and new appearance, they offered him prostrated obeisances, saying, "You are blessed, you are blessed." He became somewhat embarrassed at this and said, "Oh, I have accepted this Vaishnava dress to become an object of the Vaishnava's mercy. But now I have met with another obstacle. I have heard the following statement many times from Gurudev's mouth. Trinadapi sunichena tororapi sahishnuna amanina mananena kirtaniya sadahari. Considering oneself to be more insignificant than a blade of grass, being more tolerant than a tree and free from all desire for personal prestige, and offering all respects to others, one should constantly be absorbed in Hari Kirtan. The very same Vaishnavas whom I consider to be my gurus are now offering obeisances to me. What will become of me?" Pondering this, he approached Paramahamsa Babaji, offered him prostrated obeisance, and stood up with his head bowed. Babaji Maharaj was seated in the Madhavi arbor chanting Harinam. When he saw Sannyasi Maharaj's complete change of dress and his awakening of bhav for Sri Nam, he embraced him and bathed him with his tears of love, saying, "O Vaishnav Das, today I have become successful by touching your auspicious body." So you can see, especially those who are genuinely renounced and absorbed, so they're always very humble. And they show respect to anyone. Especially if one is showing the symptoms of a Vaishnav. But even if others are there not showing any symptoms of being of a Vaishnava, but they will respect every jiva, because they understand every jiva is a servant of Krishna. And directly or indirectly, everyone is connected to Krishna. By nature, everyone is always connected to Krishna. But even in this world, indirectly, everyone is somehow connected to Krishna or serving Krishna, knowingly or unknowingly. So that is the nature of the Vaishnava. Always very humble, tolerant, respectful, positive. Seeing the good in others and seeing as himself as being very insignificant. With this statement, Sannyasi Maharaj's previous name was forsaken. He received a new life from that day and was now known as Vaishnav Das. So here you can see that previously also the acceptance is there of Sri Guru and acceptance of a person genuinely seeking help or advice, mercy in order to advance them. So there is the acceptance from the heart. And here, so accepting each other, so Sannyasi Thakur accepting Premdas Babaji Mahashai as his guru, and then Premdas Babaji accepting Sannyasi Thakur as, because he saw that he's surrendering, so he accepted him as disciple and embraced him. And then giving him a name, Vaishnav Das. And in this way he was initiated. There was no fire sacrifice, not mentioned here any fire sacrifice, but acceptance from the heart. So that is the real initiation by which we made an advance. But then for ordinary persons that is required, that the formal ceremony has to be there to make an impression upon especially the disciple, that yes, now I'm initiated, is my guru. And then in front of the deities, in front of the fire, in front of the Vaishnavas, it will take a while, and that will make an impression. So he may not forget. But here, as so exalted personalities are there, then the external formality may not be there. We give in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, so that by Sanatana Goswami, there we can see also Gop Kumar was blessed by a great personality, actually, the Supreme Lord, who came in the form of Guru. And there was no, just acceptance was there from the heart. And then, but then there was no external initiation ceremony. But according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, Sanatana Goswami also again, for the common man it is required to have, understand a ceremony has to be there. So they will take it seriously. So thus he abandoned his Mayavad sannyas dress, his prestigious sannyas name, and the exalted conception he had of himself. That afternoon many Vaishnavas came to Sri Pradumna Kunj from Sri Godrum and Sri Madhyadvip to see Paramahamsa Babaji. They all sat surrounding him, chanting Harinam with Tulsi Mala in their hands. They called out, Ha Goranga Nityananda Asitanath Jai Satchinandana. Who is Sitanath? Huh? Who is Sitanath? Yes, Advaita Acharya. Sita Thakurani is the name of Advaita Acharya's wife. Of course, also the name of Ramchandra Bhagavan, but here, so it means Advaita Acharya. So they called out the names of Haguranga Nityananda, and their eyes welled with tears. Ha Goranga, Ha Nityananda. Are the tears coming from your eyes? Not yet, huh? Okay. You're chanting Shikshastakam every day?
Yes.
Every day?
Yes, now every day.
Okay, now every day.
Since
a few days.
Yes,
Okay.
The last class.
Okay. Yes. The sixth verse? What is the meaning?
When will the tears come from my eyes?
Yeah.
When will I choke while chanting
Yes.
your name?
Pulakaya.
When will I get goosebumps?
Yeah, when will the hairs on my body stand on the hand?
Yes.
So this is a prayer. So we should pray. So we're praying every day that we may come in future. And it should come, hopefully, this lifetime. Otherwise, next lifetime we have another chance. Ha Goranga. So, yes. So in the beginning, of course, here they were chanting and they were feeling ecstasy, and then tears are coming. But in the beginning, so then we may cry even without tears and hope when will the day come when some tears will come. It's out of desperation and seeing that we are in a hopeless situation, but hope against hope. We are calling out to the Lord to bestow His mercy upon us so we can make some advancement, so we can feel some transcendental emotions. Bhakti Yoga Dan, Bhakti Krishna Nam, Smarane, Krandane. So the wealth of Bhakti Yoga is there. So we are praying for getting the wealth of Bhakti. So, but specifically here, so Krishna Nam, so that is the mercy of Mahaprabhu. And so while chanting them, so Prabhupada used to say also that we should cry out while chanting to Srimati Radharani, please be merciful and engage me in the service of Krishna. Of course, even first we can cry to Mahaprabhu or Srimati Radharani. So without tears we can cry first, and then some tears may come later on. The Vaishnavas discussed among themselves topics related to the confidential service of their Ishtadev, worshipable deity. And then after circumambulating Tulsi Devi, they are offered obeisances. So Ishtadev, Ishtagoshti is there. So when devotees come together, then they speak about the Lord. And that is Ishtagoshti. Speaking about the worshipable deity. And no Gramya Katha, no ordinary talks, no village talk, what this person did, that person did. But what Krishna is doing, and what his associates are doing, what is their wonderful loving exchange, their pastimes. So they were also circumambulating Tulsi Devi. And because Tulsi Devi, she is very dear to Krishna, Krishna Priya. And therefore, in the service of the Lord, so when we offer something, some bhoga, then we put Tulsi leaf. And then Krishna may accept, although we may not have devotion, or not much devotion. But then Krishna is merciful and he's seeing our endeavor, and especially when Tulsi Devi is there, he is pleased. So therefore the Acharyas have introduced that every day we should worship Tulsi Devi, glorify Tulsi Devi. So at that time Vaishnava Das also circumambulated Sri Vrinda Devi and rolled in the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. Some of the Vaishnavas whispered to one another, "Isn't that Sannyasi Maharaj? What an extraordinary appearance he has today." Rolling on the ground before the Vaishnavas, Vaishnava Das said, "Today my life has become successful, for I have obtained the dust of the Vaishnavas' lotus feet. By Guru Dev's mercy, I have clearly understood that the Jiva has no distinction unless he has the dust of the Vaishnavas' feet." Or I have clearly understood that the Jiva has no destination unless he has the dust of the Vaishnavas' feet. So we need the mercy of, first of all, the Vaishnavas and the spiritual master. And then we can advance in spiritual life. So we should not only just think that I serve my Guru and I serve my Guru and I respect my Guru, I don't have to care about anybody else. No. We should respect all the Vaishnavas. But of course, especially we have to show the greatest respect for the spiritual master, and we try to serve him, we try to follow his instructions. But then we have to respect all the Vaishnavas. So the dust of the feet of the Vaishnavas, the water that washes their feet, and the nectar emanating from their lips. These three items are the medicine and the way of life for the patient who is afflicted with the disease of material existence. You know the Bengali
for this
of this?
taste?
Yeah.
Yes, Charandhuli.
Bhakta Charandhuli.
Bhakta Charandhuli.
And
two more.
Bhakta Padajal
Bhakta Padajal.
and Bhakta Vashesh. So what is left over by the Vaishnavas, prasad.
Here it says nectar emanating from the lips.
What's nectar emanating from their lips? Yes, so of course that may also be Krishna Katha. but actually refers to the prasadam which they have, which they have taken. The Mahaprasad of the Lord they eat and it becomes Mahaprasad. So they eat and they touch to their lips and something is left and then one may take that, and so that is very powerful and purifying. But yes, most important actually is to follow the instructions of the Spirit Master. But if you can get the dust of the feet, the water which washed the feet of the great Vaishnavas and Mahaprasad remnants, that is helpful. But more important is to hear Harikatha, Krishna Katha, and to follow the instructions, and to chant the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. If one is simply trying to take the Mahaprasad or the dust of the feet, and is not chanting Harinam, then that will not do much. But if one is chanting nicely Harinam and not even getting the remnants of fruit, no problem. So, but it can help also, so we can chant nicely the holy names. So they are the cure for that, the entire material disease, and they are also the source of transcendental enjoyment for the healthy soul who has become free from this affliction. If one is conditioned state, it is helpful, but if one is more advanced, then one can appreciate that much better and relish that. O Vaishnavas, please do not think that I am trying to show off my scholarship. My heart has now become free from all such egotism. I took birth in a high Brahmana family, studied all the Shastras, and entered the sannyasa ashram, which is the fourth stage of the social order. As a result, my pride knew no bounds. So pride has to be given up. Sada damba hitva. But it is not so easy. Here, if one is like here, so he was from the Brahmana family, and he studied the Shastra, studied all the Shastras. I am a sannyasi. So then pride can come. Pride is very easily coming in the conditioned state. So even actually, so even there's a saying in English language also. The pauper is proud of his penny. A beggar, he has nothing practically. But he has a little something and he's becoming proud of that. And there's this Jupri right here in the big cities when I first came to India and Mumbai. And so I had heard about India, many sadhu, saintly persons are there, Himalayas and Varanasi and so on. I came to Bombay and I saw the beggars there and where they were living. But then many times they're proud also of their whatever they have, what they live they have, which is nothing. So even ordinary persons, or devotees also sometimes they become proud. But we should give up this pride. Sada damba hitva. Where from is this? First verse. You still remember?
Yes, sir.
Okay, recite.
Samantre Shri Namne Prachana Yoga Dhanvasana Sadagam Mitva Kururatima Puromatiparam E Shanta Gratasya Chaturdiya Vyacha Pratapada.
Very good. What is the meaning?
Oh my Guru Goshte Goshaleshu, please meditate on Guru and then Goshte
Goshte? Goshte, what is Goshte?
The Mathuravasis, the Brajvasis.
Yeah, Brijvasis. Yeah, the Braj.
The Braj.
Ghost means the
Yes, the both.
place.
Yes. Yes. So Goshtalishu
Gostalisu.
and then the Brajvasis.
Yes.
Sujan, the Brahmanas.
No.
Then Sujan is
Sajan.
yes.
Sujan or Sajan. Sajan.
Yes, Sajan priest.
What is Sajan? What is Sajan?
In Sajan is
Like, no, a pious, a gentleman. Gentleman. He's a gentleman? Yeah, he's a gentleman, right? Sajan. Sajan. Bhusurgan.
Bhusurgan means the demigods. No? Then
Bhusurgan, almost.
almost no.
Bhusur. Sur means the demigods.
There Sur means the demigods.
And Bhumandal means on this planet.
On this planet.
So who are the demigods on this planet? The Brahmanas.
The Brahmanas.
Bhusurgan.
So then so mantra and your mantras, your chanting mantras, your Swamantre Srinamne.
Swamantra Srinamne.
Gayatri mantras and
what is Gayatri?
Gayatri.
What is?
Gayatri is Gopal mantra.
No, yeah, but Swamantra, what is Swamantra?
Swamantra Gayatri.
Yes, right.
Yes.
Srinamni.
Srinamne is Harinam.
Yes.
And Swamantra Srinamne. Brajanavi Yuva Dandra Sharani. And then the Yugal
Radha Krishna.
Radha Krishna. In the eternally young age.
Yeah.
So
we take.
Hitva,
Yes.
always give a pride. And then Kuru, yeah.
Kururatim Apurvam.
Kurumatisaram, yes. So then develop this rati towards something.
Yeah, well, develop rati towards Guru Goste Gostalishu.
Then, and I Shanta Pradesha, I beg and hold your lotus feet, mind's lotus feet. Not mind's lotus feet, mind's feet. So,
Yeah, seeing the mind as a personality.
Yes.
What personality? Bratre. Brother, my dear brother.
Yes.
Because we are there and then the mind is there in the same body.
Yes.
So it's like a brother, same family.
Yes. So holding the feet of the mind, I pray to you to please pay attention to hear all these things.
Yeah. With rati, with some transcendental affection. Feeling hot. Okay. Yes. So that very important verse of Raghunath Das Goswami for our benefit. So because the mind is very, in the conditioned state is very tricky and not wanting to surrender. In the beginning, because something new, the mind wants something new. Then if one is joining, and we have seen that there's something new, nice prasad and deities, and the mind is a little happy. But after sometimes the mind wants something new. So therefore we have to take care of the mind. So pride has to be given up.
I have one question relating to mind only.
Yes.
So everyone has a certain nature. Some people can go like this only, like in this military style, routine wise, and they can continue their whole life like this. And like the routine which we have been given from our acharyas, like this.
Sadhana bhakti.
Yes. And you do this. But some people, some like most of the people's mind need variations. Like
variety.
Yeah, variety. And they can continue in a routine for maybe for not a long time, but then after that they need some variety. So, but for some people it is just natural. They have this. It's not like but it's easy for them because they have this military mindset. Like how it has been there, like they do this. So then, is there a program, or should there also be a program for the people who have this different mindset, or do the people who have this different mindset, this creative, you can say, or maybe different, which just needs a lot of variety, they have to fit in this program? So like
yeah, so as it is true, different persons have different nature. And therefore also Prabhupada has mentioned that actually chanting the holy names, that is enough for liberation, just chanting the holy names. But to engage the restless mind of the conditioned soul, we have made so many arrangements so they may be engaged. So basically just sitting down and chanting Hare Krishna is enough. But who can do that? Very few. So therefore there's a temple program, the deities are there, you can take darshan, you can serve the deities, and then you can do book distribution, you can cook for the Lord, and you can clean the floor, temple, you can clean the deity spots. Also many activities are there. So therefore Varnashram is there also. Because not everyone can just be completely a kinchana, just not attached to anything of this world, detached, and simply chant the holy name. So they have to follow Varnashram. And then there's variety. If you're going to be brahmachari, you get married, then there's variety there. You have a wife, and then you have a house, and then you have some things, and then you have 1 or 2, 3 children. So you have some variety, right? And you can be nicely engaged. Yeah. So that is there. And then according to one's psychophysical nature, so those who are more Brahminically inclined, then they will worship the deities, they can be more regulated. Those who are not so inclined, so they can be, well, like Kshatriya, they can be, that means not only a soldier, but they can be managers. And then as a manager, you may not have to follow so much the strict rules and regulations as the brahmanas, like serving the Lord and then offering certain times the bhoga and then doing artik certain time, but different kind of seva, you're managing the things. Or then if you don't have this nature but you like to have some money, you can do some business, and then even there, so you don't have to have such a rigid program. And as a householder, it's not that 4:30 you have to have Mangalatik. You can have Mangalatik at 5 or 5:30. If you are busy and then you are late in the evening and you have to attend a marriage ceremony with your wife, and then you may take rest at 12 o'clock. And then you cannot get up at 4 o'clock to do Artik at 4:30, and then you get up at 6 and you have your Mangalatik at 6:30. And Krishna is accepting, he's understanding the devotees. And then there's no issue, no problem. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And this is not a point of military. But in the military they are strict also, that is true, they're regulated. Like in India, everyone is mostly late, right? They come at 12 and the person is coming 12:30, and no problem. And the train is late, right? 1 hour, 2 hours. Now it's a little better than before. But the army people, even 30 years ago, because they used to come to the temple, a general is coming, and then they come at time. 12 o'clock darshan, they are there at 12 o'clock. Very punctual, they are most punctual in the army. That is my experience also. Everybody else, the brahmanas and the army people are on time. So that is there. But we are more, of course, concerned with those who are Brahminically inclined. But army people are, of course, regulated, which is good also. But they may not be so Brahminically inclined, but they are regulated, which is fine. But then if one is simply regulated like the army people, but is not engaged in spiritual activities, what is the use? Of course, you may, like Desh Bhaktas are there and they're protecting the country, that is nice, that is fine, but they should be devotees also. See, only to be Desh Bhakta, to be a devotee of the country, that is external, that is not sufficient. We should be a devotee of the Lord, and then we can be also a devotee of Bharatvarsha, not India, Hindustan, Bharatvarsha. With Krishna in the center. So that should be there. But when I became so he was proud, but then when I became attracted to the Vaishnava principles, a seed of humility was sown in my heart. So he saw the devotees are humble. So then in the beginning also the humility is there. If you don't know anything, you see the new bhaktas, they're a little humble because they don't know anything. And then you learn something and then the nature is coming. The ego is still there, the pride is there. But then one has to work on this, being humble. In the beginning, kacha dainatva is there, the unripe humility, but we have to see that becomes ripe. Means by realizing our insignificant nature, spiritual nature. Gradually, through the mercy of all you Vaishnavas, I have been able to cast off the vanity of my noble birth, the pride in my learning, and the arrogance of my social status. Now I know that I am a destitute and insignificant Jiva. I was being ruined by my false ego of being a Brahmana, by my learning, and by my status of a sannyasi. I submit all this before your lotus feet with full simplicity. You may deal with this servant of yours however you deem fit. When the Vaishnavas heard Vaishnava Dasa's humble words, many of them said, O best of the Bhagavatas, we are eager to obtain the dust of the feet of Vaishnavas like you. Please bless us with the dust of your lotus feet. You are the object of Paramahamsa Babaji's mercy. Please beautify us by making us your associates. The Shastra says that bhakti is obtained through associating with bhaktas like yourself. Quoting from Brihan Naradiya Purana, Bhaktistu Bhagavad Bhakta Sangena Parijayate Satsanga Prapyate Pumbhi Sukrita Purva Sanchitai. Bhakti is awakened when one associates with bhaktas of Sri Bhagavan. Association with Shuddha Bhaktas is attained only by the association, by the accumulation of transcendental pious activities performed over many lifetimes. So by Purva Samskar, Sukriti, by performing here transcendental activities over many lifetimes, one can have the association of the Shuddha Vaishnavas. So we have to understand that to become completely perfect, it will take some time. So we should not become hopeless if we see that still it seems we have a long way to go. It takes time to become pure. So, but whatever is our situation, our stage, so we try to advance a little more in this lifetime. We had accumulated a sufficient stock of pious activities which foster bhakti. Bhakti Poshak Sukriti. And it's how we have obtained your association. So Sukriti means pious activity, but there are different pious activities. So somebody, for example, we can see in this material world, many people, they are wealthy and then they open hospitals or they give food or clothes to poor people. So that is pious activity, which is fine. But we should see that we should engage in pious activities which are bhakti poshak, which which nourish bhakti. So for that we have to actually come into the association with the devotees, and then we have to do activities for the benefit of Hari Guru Vaishnav, and then we may advance. And so the association of the devotees is very important. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kai, Ei Lavamara Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. So, Guru Padashray, first limb of devotional service, taking shelter of the spiritual master, or with the great Vaishnavas. And 5 most important limbs of devotional service, Sadhu Sangha is there. In the association with the devotees, then it is more easy to engage in devotional service, to be enthusiastic. Alone it is very difficult to advance. We need the association, especially those who are more advanced. So now by that strength of that association we aspire for Hari Bhakti. So even in the association with the devotees, so we see that we're performing something, but so we should actually, of course, aspire for pure bhakti, for pure devotional service. When the Vaishnavas had concluded their exchanges of mutual respect and humility, Vaishnavas sat down on one side of the assembly, thereby enhancing its dignity. The Harinam Mala looked brilliant in his hands. So here, the Vaishnavas had concluded the exchange of mutual respect and humility. That is important. We should be humble, tolerant, and respectful towards others. And then try to chant Harinam as much as possible. That day a fortunate gentleman was sitting with the Vaishnavas. He had taken birth in an aristocratic Brahmana family and was also a Jamindar, wealthy landlord. He had studied Arabic and Farsi from childhood and had developed a significant reputation in the country, for he had quoted many of the Islamic royalty and was also expert in group dynamics and political strategy. Although he had enjoyed his position and opulence for many years, it had brought him no happiness. At last, he had taken up the practice of Harinam Sankirtan. So ultimately you can see in the age of Kali, some most important activities, Harinam Sankirtan. And unless and until we take up seriously the chanting of the holy names, so the advancement will be slow. So Sankirtan means congregational chanting of the holy names together with others. Or it can mean also Samyak Rupena Kirtan. So being absorbed in chanting. So Kirtan, so chanting intensely japa, that is also Sankirtan. So chanting of the holy names is most important. And together with others, but individually also. So we had also seen previously, especially young devotees, so they take pleasure in Sankirtan, but then sometimes they're not taking so much pleasure in japa. Because actually in Sankirtan, when the different devotees are chanting together, we can more easily feel some transcendental taste in that happiness. Especially if the leader is chanting Shuddhanam, or if he's advanced. Like when Narendra Prabhu was here, and he was chanting, he attracted many devotees, and then many devotees were there when he was chanting, and many young people also, young devotees. And then they were feeling happy, and so therefore then they joined every day. Sankirtan with Narendra Prabhu. But then many of them, they were not seriously in chanting japa. Because japa, that is more difficult. Individually chanting nicely the holy names. But we have to work on this, on chanting nice japa. Because if you're chanting, or if you're there in Sankirtan, and especially if the leader is more advanced, then you can get some bliss, some happiness. So that is fine, but ultimately you have to also chant good japa. And usually the realizations, they will come by chanting japa. So but then Sankirtan, chanting together with others, they will give some inspiration, some strength, so that we can chant our japa. And like worshipping deities also, that will give us the realization of the personal form of the Lord, and then by chanting the holy names we can understand that Krishna Nam are not different. So that is a great help, or chanting Gayatri. That helps us to be more focused, and then we can so be more focused while chanting the holy names. But then most important is chanting the holy names. And the realization of Krishna's Swarup will be there by chanting the holy names, and our Swarup. Otherwise, if one is not chanting japa, he may worship the deities, he may chant with other devotees, but he will not attain Krishna Sakshatkar, direct experience of Krishna, or Atma Sakshatkar, direct experience of the self. All these things are there to help, and which are important. Mahatapurna Nam Kit, the Pritipurvak Murti Seva, Sadhu Sangha, Bhagavad Shravan, Dhamvas, that is all helpful, but most important is Krishna Nam. By chanting Krishna Nam and doing the other activities, then one becomes purified, and then one can chant better Harinam. So Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kolam, Nastyeva, Gatiranyata, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Nam Sankirtan Yagya ki, Nam Prabhu ki, Radhisham ki, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Srila Rupa Goswami ki, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gurudeva ki, Go Premanande, Hare Hare Bol, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.